Hey everyone, it's Phil Key from Night Owl Films. Welcome and thanks for tuning in. We've all probably heard that phrase, or I never noticed that before. I noticed it this time though. I was watching a few cult classics the other day, and I'm going to try and explain this in a way that makes sense to people because I still am trying to wrap my head around it, but I thought it'd be quite a cool podcast to make about this. So, when you're watching a film, or your favourite scene, or your favourite actor, or your favourite music cue, whatever, you watch it, you put that much focus on it, it's exciting. But are we blinding ourselves to more of what's going on screen than we realize? I'll admit, when I've watched my favorite film again and again and again and again and again, years later, I still see things that I just never noticed before. And then I thought to myself, but what is it that makes us not notice what can be noticed? And then it got me thinking even deeper. The quickest explanation I can give for this is Hocus Pocus. I love that film. It's not a horror, but it's a good film. I've grew up with it, and it's made me who I am today. And I watched it the other night, and I thought, I've seen this film about 1,000 times, and I never picked up on that until now. And it got me thinking, why though? And then I thought to myself, well, I remember in this particular scene that I was watching, I enjoyed seeing the witches in the sky, doing what they're doing. And I thought, maybe that's why I didn't notice before. But then I thought, well, maybe I didn't notice because I was too focused on this and not that. But then I thought to myself, I know these characters though, inside out, back to front. I know the storyline, the music, the editing, the angles, everything. Obviously, when it comes to that type of a film, there's the special effects that are at work. It's all mixed in, it's all jigsawed in, and trying to obviously analyze it and sort of dissect it. It takes a lot of time. And after watching Hocus Pocus, this particular scene, about 1,000 times over the years, I noticed something. I thought, hang on, that shot can't be a single shot. It's got to be a matter of another shot, surely. And then I thought, but why would they do that? But then I thought, hang on, when Mary is on the Hoover and the kids are pulling her back with the power cable, I thought to myself, you know what? I've never noticed Billy doing that in the background either. And it got me thinking on a serious note. Why is it we don't notice things at the time when you think you should notice them? Now, is it because the characters themselves, we're that glued into a certain phrase, a certain line they deliver, a certain face they pull, a certain funny moment in the film? If it's an emotional film or if it's a sad film, is there something we hook onto for that long that we don't notice other things surrounding the scene? Could it be that you're watching a actor's performance of something so raw that you've watched it that many times that you are then thinking like the character and then you are thinking about something else and then you do notice something else that you hadn't noticed before? And when I've tried to explain this to people, they come back at me thinking, what the hell is all this gobbledygook Philip's going on about here? Every time I watch a film, I notice something different. And when other people say, I didn't notice this before, I didn't pick up on that before, I ask, well, why is that? What is it? We sit and watch films, we can press pause, rewind, but what I have come to learn is that the more mature you get, the more experience you have watching films and understanding characters and character development and the plots within the film, and if a location has a meaning to a character, the more you do actually begin to notice things that you wouldn't normally have noticed if you were just shutting it on TV for the sake of it. And people might be thinking, well, that's an obvious one, but go a bit deeper than that. I decided to watch New Year's Eve the other day with Michelle Pfeiffer and Zac Efron and Sarah Jessica Parker, amongst some other cool actors. And I've seen that film a few times, and the scene with Robert De Niro is a very powerful scene. I won't give it away if you haven't seen it, because it's an alright film to watch. And I think it was Hilary Swank's character again. There's some things about her character that I didn't notice before. But the more you watch films, the more you understand the character, understand their reaction, the more you notice things that you didn't actually think you would notice before. And it got me thinking, is film more important than we realise to ourselves? Because when you discover something you didn't notice before that you've noticed, let's say maybe 5 years later, you think, well, why did I notice that before? And maybe that is the answer. We grow up and emotionally connect with films and characters and locations that we put that much focus on them at a single time, that maybe then we are emotionally growing with the film, and the more you watch it, the more you understand a certain rites of passage or a message within the film, for example, that then your brain then thinks, yeah, that makes sense now, I've just learned something. But then because you've just learned something new about the storyline within the film or the character or the location, you've then noticed something that you didn't notice before because you didn't understand to look for it before, because you never learned what you've just learned from the film until now. And when I got thinking about all this, I thought, it's crazy to think how many things we miss when we are watching films. And Hocus Pocus was just an example. With the Scream franchise, you know, I see a lot of theories online, people picking the film to bits, and Scream 3, for example, what actually did happen to Maureen Prescott. It's always implied, but then the more you watch it, the more you think, you know what, I don't like this character actually now. The more you watch the film, the more you realise how sly and sleazy they were. They're the ones who possibly did do what was accused to have been done. And the more you watch it, the more you get involved with it emotionally, mentally, and just for the fun of it, the more you do see things that you just don't notice. One of my favourite films is Stargate. And every single time I watch that film, I always see something new that I never noticed before. And it's because I've grown to mature with it, so I understand it now better. I remember the first time I seen that in the cinema. Do I understand it a lot better now than I did over 20 years ago? Absolutely. Did I notice more now though? Did I see things more? Things that maybe were just, in the background. I've picked up on them and I've thought, you know what? Because of that character's backstory, that makes more sense now and I've noticed it. The more you watch films, the more you mature and grow with them. The more you learn from life and learn from films, the more you notice things within the film. And that is very damn cool in my opinion. And it also opens up, an arena for debate. Do we actually get a lot more from films than we actually realise we do? Who knows? But how many times have you lot probably said to yourself, oh, I never noticed that before. Why didn't I pick up on that before? That's been there this whole time and I've never noticed it. I think it's because we grow with characters. Obviously, you're watching the same film again and again and again, but you learn from it again and again and again, and you notice things that you didn't notice before, and it's just, I think that's wow. It's crazy, but it's absolutely cool as hell. If there's anyone out there who thinks the same, leave a comment, drop a message. I want to see what people out there think, but I think this is quite a topic of conversation that could be endless. Thank you everyone once again for tuning in, and take it easy.